There is a certain allure to the world of high-stakes negotiations where fortunes are made and lost with a handshake, where every decision can alter the course of history. This is a world inhabited by men like Adnan Khashoggi, a figure who became synonymous with the opulence and intrigue of international business. These are individuals who operate in the rarefied air of global power, their lives a heady mix of political intrigue, unimaginable wealth, and unchecked influence. They navigate a landscape where every move is calculated, and every relationship is a potential asset or liability. Theirs is a world where the lines between business and pleasure blur, where every desire can be fulfilled, and every whim indulged. Lavish parties, exclusive gatherings, and extravagant lifestyles are the norm, not the exception. But it is also a world of shadows and whispers where alliances shift like desert sands, and the price of power can be steep indeed. In this realm, trust is a rare commodity, and betrayal can come from the most unexpected quarters. Adnan Khashoggi, born into privilege yet driven by an insatiable ambition, was a man who came to embody both the intoxicating allure and the inherent dangers of this world. His rise to prominence was marked by both brilliance and controversy. His life, a roller coaster of dizzying highs and devastating lows, serves as a cautionary tale about the seductive nature of power and the fine line that separates success from scandal. It is a reminder that in the pursuit of power, one must always be wary of the cost. Adnan Khashoggi's story begins not in the boardrooms of New York or the palaces of Riyadh, but in the holy city of Mecca. This ancient city, known for its spiritual significance, was the backdrop to his early life. Born into a family close to the Saudi royal court, his father a physician to King Abdulaziz ibn Saud, the founder of modern Saudi Arabia, Khashoggi was surrounded by the trappings of influence and power from a young age. Khashoggi's destiny seemed intertwined with the fate of the kingdom itself. The vast deserts and opulent palaces of Saudi Arabia were not just his home, but the stage upon which his future would unfold. His early years were marked by the comforts and connections that came with proximity to power. Lavish family gatherings and high society events were the norm, shaping his worldview and ambitions. Educated at Victoria College in Alexandria, Egypt, a breeding ground for the region's elite, Khashoggi was exposed to a world of intellectual rigor and cultural diversity. He moved with an assuredness that belied his young age. His confidence was not just a product of his upbringing, but also of the education and experiences that broadened his horizons. While his classmates pursued traditional paths, Khashoggi's entrepreneurial spirit was already evident. He was not content to follow the well-trodden road. He sought out new ventures and opportunities. He saw opportunity where others saw only desert. The vast, untapped potential of the Saudi landscape was clear to him, and he was determined to capitalize on it. He understood that the burgeoning oil wealth of Saudi Arabia was transforming the kingdom, creating a new class of individuals hungry for connections and luxury goods. This new era of prosperity was something he was keen to be a part of. It was within this nexus of tradition and modernity that Khashoggi honed his skills, mastering the art of the deal and cultivating the relationships that would define his future. His ability to navigate these two worlds would become his greatest asset. Khashoggi's entry into the world of international arms dealing began almost serendipitously. It was a world that he had not initially set out to conquer, but fate had other plans. Born into a prominent Saudi family, Khashoggi was well versed in the intricacies of both Eastern and Western cultures from a young age. A chance encounter with a British businessman led to his first major deal, supplying trucks to the Egyptian army during the Suez Crisis. This deal was more than just a business transaction, it was a pivotal moment that set the stage for his future endeavors. The success of this deal opened doors that Khashoggi had never imagined. This early success proved to be a harbinger of things to come. It was clear that Khashoggi had a knack for navigating the complex world of international trade and diplomacy. His ability to broker deals and build relationships was unparalleled. Recognizing the lucrative potential of linking Western defense contractors with the seemingly limitless resources of the Middle East, Khashoggi established himself as an indispensable intermediary. He saw opportunities where others saw obstacles, and his vision was instrumental in bridging the gap between two very different worlds. His connections, coupled with his innate understanding of both Western business practices and the nuances of Arab culture, made him the go-to man for governments and corporations alike. Khashoggi's unique position allowed him to facilitate deals that were beneficial to all parties involved, further solidifying his reputation as a master negotiator. His rise was meteoric. From humble beginnings, he quickly ascended the ranks of the global elite. His lifestyle became a symbol of his success, characterized by private jets, luxury cars, and opulent buildings. Khashoggi was not just a businessman, he was a symbol of the new era of globalization. Throughout the 1960s and 70s, Khashoggi brokered deals for Lockheed, Boeing, and Northrop, amassing a fortune that would make him one of the richest men in the world. His influence extended beyond the boardroom, impacting global politics and economics in ways that few could have predicted. He moved effortlessly between Riyadh, London, and Washington, cultivating relationships with heads of state, intelligence officials, and influential businessmen. His ability to navigate these different spheres of influence made him a unique figure in the world of international relations. To many, he became the embodiment of a new kind of global power broker, a man who operated beyond the constraints of national borders, driven solely by the pursuit of profit and influence. Khashoggi's story is a testament to the power of vision, ambition, and the ability to seize opportunities in a rapidly changing world. Khashoggi's wealth was legendary, as was his penchant for spending it. He purchased a fleet of private jets, each one customized to his exacting specifications, including a DC-8 reportedly outfitted with a disco and an operating room. His yacht, the Nabila, named after his daughter, was a floating palace, featuring multiple swimming pools, a helipad, and a crew of over 60. He threw lavish parties that became the stuff of legend, attracting royalty, Hollywood celebrities, and the international jet set. His homes, scattered across the globe, were equally opulent. From his 18th century estate in Marbella, Spain, to his sprawling ranch in Kenya, Khashoggi lived a life of unparalleled luxury. He amassed a vast collection of art and jewelry, indulging his every whim and fancy. He was a man who seemed to have it all, his life a testament to the belief that with enough money and influence, anything was attainable. But behind the facade of wealth and glamour, a darker side to Khashoggi's empire was beginning to emerge. His close ties to the Saudi royal family, once his greatest asset, were becoming increasingly fraught. His involvement in several controversial arms deals, including the Iran-Contra affair, raised eyebrows in Washington. His lavish lifestyle, once admired, was now seen by some as excessive, even vulgar. Rumors of corruption and shady business dealings began to circulate. His name was whispered in connection with various scandals, linking him to figures of questionable repute. The whispers in the palaces of Riyadh grew louder, fueled by envy and a growing concern that Khashoggi's flamboyant lifestyle reflected poorly on the kingdom. The man who had once been the ultimate insider was now viewed with suspicion, his every move scrutinized by those who once courted his favor. The 1980s proved to be a turning point for Adnan Khashoggi. The global arms market, once so lucrative, began to contract. The Iran-Contra scandal, in which he had played a key role, exploded onto the world stage, tarnishing his reputation and leading to investigations by U.S. authorities. His extravagant spending, coupled with some poor business decisions, began to take their toll. In 1988, Khashoggi was arrested in Switzerland at the request of the U.S. government on charges of racketeering and obstruction of justice related to his alleged role in helping Ferdinand and Imelda Marcos, the former president and first lady of the Philippines, conceal stolen assets. Although he was eventually acquitted of these charges, the damage was done. His reputation was in tatters, his business empire crumbling under the weight of legal fees and bad publicity. The final decades of Adnan Khashoggi's life were a far cry from the heady days of his prime. Forced to sell off his prized possessions, including his beloved yacht the Nabila, he lived a more subdued existence, a shadow of his former self. He spent much of his time in exile, moving between various residences in Europe and the Middle East, his movements restricted by legal troubles and a dwindling fortune. Yet, even in his twilight years, Khashoggi never lost his taste for the finer things in life. He continued to move in elite circles, his charisma undimmed by his reversals of fortune. He remained a captivating storyteller, regaling anyone who would listen with tales of his past exploits. And while he expressed regret for some of his actions, he maintained a certain defiance and unwillingness to fully acknowledge the extent of his fall from grace. Adnan Khashoggi's life story is a study in contradictions. He was a man of immense charm and charisma, who could captivate a room with his stories and his presence. He was a shrewd businessman, who understood the levers of power and how to use them to his advantage. But he was also a man of questionable judgment, driven by an insatiable appetite for wealth and extravagance. His legacy remains complex and contested. Some remember him as a visionary entrepreneur, who helped to shape the global arms trade and redefine the very meaning of wealth and influence. Others view him as a symbol of excess and corruption, a man who embodied the greed and moral ambiguity of a bygone era. Ultimately, Adnan Khashoggi's life serves as a cautionary tale about the seductive glare of excess and the corrosive effects of unchecked power. His story reminds us that the pursuit of wealth and influence, while intoxicating, can ultimately be hollow, leaving behind a trail of broken promises and shattered illusions. In the end, the line between success and scandal can be razor-thin, and the price of crossing it, as Khashoggi learned all too well, can be steeper than anyone can imagine.